Hello to all of my friends. I hope you had a wonderful day today. Did you make sure that you made someone smile? I hope so. Today, we're going to be reading some bedtime stories. I hope you enjoy them. Our first story is Brown Bear, What Do You See? Now, normally you actually are reading the book right along with me, but because you're getting ready for bed, I'm going to be reading the story as you close your eyes and drift off to sleep. Let your imagination play the words, and then you'll be in La La Land, and I will see you on the next video. I will fade the lights slowly as they come down, and we will fade to black, and you will only hear my voice. But everything will be quiet, peaceful, and sound for the night. Are you ready? Let's start with Brown Bear, What Do You See? It was written by Bill Martin, and the pictures are by Eric Carle. Let's get started. Brown Bear, what do you see? I see a red bird looking at me. Red bird, what do you see? I see a yellow duck looking at me. Yellow duck, what do you see? I see a blue horse looking at me. Blue horse, what do you see? I see a green frog looking at me. Green frog, what do you see? I see a purple cat looking at me. Purple cat, what do you see? I see a white dog looking at me. White dog, what do you see? I see a black sheep looking at me. Black sheep, what do you see? I see a goldfish looking at me. Goldfish, what do you see? I see a teacher looking at me. Teacher, what do you see? I see children looking at me. Children, what do you see? We see a brown bear, a red bird, a yellow duck, a blue horse, a green frog, a purple cat, a white dog, a black sheep, a goldfish, and a teacher looking at us. That's what we see. The end. This one was especially for all of my little friends out there. I know you'll probably drift off to sleep first, so I wanted to make sure I read something that you would know. Looks like a couple of my friends are going to sleep. We're having a little slumber party here for our bedtime stories. Why don't you go inside the tent and lay down? Our next book will be The Rainbow Fish. Our next book is The Rainbow Fish. This book was written by Marcus Pfister, translated by J. Allison James. A long way out in the deep blue sea, there lived a fish. Not just an ordinary fish, but the most beautiful fish in the entire ocean. His scales were every shade of blue and green and purple, with sparkling silver scales among them. I hope you're imagining this as you close your eyes. The other fish were amazed at his beauty. They called him Rainbow Fish. "Come on, Rainbow Fish," they would all call. "Come and play with us." But the Rainbow Fish would just glide past, proud and silent, letting his scales shimmer. One day, a little blue fish followed after him. Rainbow Fish," he called, "wait for me. Please, please, give me one of your shiny scales. They are so wonderful, and you have so many." "You want me to give you one of my special scales? Who do you think you are?" cried the Rainbow Fish. "Get away from me." Shocked, the little blue fish swam away. He was so upset, he told all of his friends what had happened. From then on, no one would have anything to do with the Rainbow Fish. They turned away when he swam by. What good were the dazzling, shimmering scales? What good were the dazzling, shimmering scales with no one to admire them? Now, he was the loneliest fish in the entire ocean. One day, he poured out his troubles to the starfish. "I really am beautiful. Why doesn't anybody like me?" "I can't answer that for you," said the starfish. "But if you go beyond the coral reef to a deep cave, you will find the wise octopus. Maybe she can help you." The Rainbow Fish found the cave. It was very dark inside, and he couldn't see anything. Then, suddenly, two eyes caught him in their glare, and the octopus emerged from the darkness. "I have been waiting for you," said the octopus with a deep voice. "The waves have told me your story. This is my advice. Give a glittering scale to each one of the other fish. You will no longer be the most beautiful fish in the sea, but you will discover how to be happy." "I can't," the Rainbow Fish started to say, but the octopus had already disappeared in a dark cloud of ink. "Give away my scales, my beautiful shining scales? Never. How could I ever be happy without them?" "I don't know. If the octopus said, give up your scales, there's gotta be a reason. Let's continue and find out why. Suddenly, he felt the light touch of a fin. The little blue fish was back. Rainbow fish, please don't be angry. I just want one little scale. The rainbow fish wavered. Only one very, very small shimmering scale, he thought. Well, maybe I wouldn't miss just one. Carefully, the rainbow fish pulled out the smallest scale and gave it to the little fish. Thank you very much. The little blue fish bubbled playfully as he tucked the shiny scale in among his blue ones. A rather peculiar feeling came over the rainbow fish. For a long time, he watched the little blue fish swim back and forth with his new scale glittering in the water. The little blue fish whizzed through the ocean with his scales flashing. So it didn't take long before the rainbow fish was surrounded by the other fish. Everyone wanted a glittering scale. The rainbow fish shared his scales left and right. And the more he gave away, the more delighted he became. When the water around him filled with glimmering scales, he at last felt at home among the other fish. Finally, the rainbow fish had only one shining scale left. Finally, the rainbow fish had only one shining scale left. His most prized possessions had been given away. Yet he was very happy. Come on, rainbow fish, they called. Come and play with us. Here I come, said the rainbow fish. And, happy as a splash, he swam off to join his friends. The end. That was the end of the rainbow fish. We will continue on with our next book. Monsters, Inc. by Cole Cares. This is a Disney Pixar. Monsters, Inc. Late one night, a little boy awoke to see a monster in his room. He screamed, "Ah!" Then the monster screamed, "Ah!" With a sigh. The teacher turned off the mechanical boy. Then she repeated the rules. Never scream. And never leave a child's door open. It could let the child into Monstropolis. On the other side of the Monsters Inc. building, James P. Sullivan was arriving for work. Sully was a scarer. It was his job to collect screams from human children. Screams were very important. Their energy powered all of Monstropolis. Sully was a very on the other side of Monsters Inc. building. James P. Sullivan was arriving for work. Sully was a scarer. Screams were very important. Their energy powered all of Monstropolis. Sully was very good at his job. In fact, he and his best friend Mike were the best scare team at Monsters Inc. All day long, Mike set up closet doors for Sully, and all day long, Sully walked through the doors into children's rooms and scared them. One evening, Mike was on his way home when Roz, the file clerk, asked for his daily paperwork. Mike had forgotten to do it. Sully offered to do the work for him. When Sully returned to the scare floor, he found a child's door still sitting in its scaring station. Puzzled, he peeked through the door. There was no one there. Sully closed the door and stepped back onto the scare floor. Suddenly, he felt a tug on his tail. "Kitty!" a voice called. It was a human child. Sully screamed, "Ah!" Everyone knew that human children were toxic. He tried to return her to her room, but she wouldn't go. Finally, he hid her in a bag and went to find Mike. Mike was at a restaurant with his girlfriend, Celia. Looking through the window, Sully gestured for him to come outside. When they were alone, he explained what had happened. As they talked, the girl escaped and began running through the restaurant. Mike and Sully were in big trouble. Sully scooped up the girl, and the friends raced back to their apartment. They had to figure out a way to get her home, and fast. Mike and Sully tried not to touch the girl, but as Mike backed away from her, he tripped and fell. The little girl giggled. The lights flashed brightly and then went out. Her laughter was even more powerful than her screams. Sully scooped up the girl, and the friends raced back to their apartment. They had to figure out a way to get her home, and fast. Mike and Sully tried not to touch the girl, but as Mike backed away from her, he tripped and fell. The little girl giggled. The lights flashed brightly. The lights flashed brightly and then went out. Her laughter was even more powerful than her screams. As Sully put the girl to bed, he realized that she was afraid. She thought there was a monster in the closet. Sully decided to stay with her until she fell asleep. Later, Sully told Mike, "This might sound crazy, but I don't think that kid is dangerous." The little girl was pointing at the closet. The next morning, Mike and Sully dressed the girl in a monster's disguise and took her to work. They had to get her to her door. When they arrived, the office was crawling with Child Detection Agency agents. The CDA was searching for the girl. Luckily, the girl's disguise worked. While Mike went to find the girl's door, she and Sully played together in the locker room. "Boo!" she said with a giggle. Just then, Mike returned, but there was another monster close behind him. It was a scarer named Randall. Oh, this Randall, I don't know about him. Mike and Sully ducked into a bathroom stall and they listened in horror as Randall told his assistant to get rid of the girl. When Randall left, Mike and Sully snuck the girl, whom they now are calling Boo, onto the scare floor. But Mike had made a mistake. "This isn't Boo's door," Sully said. Just then, he realized that Boo was gone. He and Mike split up to find her. As Mike searched the halls, Randall cornered him. He told Mike to bring her to the scare floor, and he would have her door waiting. Sully found Boo playing with some little monsters. Soon, Mike caught up with him. He told Sully about Randall's plan. Together, they went to the scare floor, but Sully didn't trust Randall. Determined to prove the door was safe, Mike stepped through and was captured by Randall. Sully and Boo followed Randall. They learned that he had invented a cruel new way to capture screams from kids. He was about to try it out on Mike. Sully rescued Mike and then raced off to find his boss, Mr. Waternoose. He needed to warn him about Randall. Sully and Mike found Mr. Waternoose in the training room. They quickly explained what had happened. Mr. Waternoose promised to fix everything, but he was really working with Randall. He grabbed Boo out of Sully's arms and then pushed the friends through the open door. They were stranded in the Himalayan mountains. Sully knew Boo was in trouble. He had to get back to Monstropolis. He and Mike raced to the nearest village and found a closet door to lead them home. Sully rushed to Randall's lab. He tore the machine apart and saved Boo. But he still had to get her to her door. Mike and Sully climbed into the machine that carried the doors to the scare floor. "Make her laugh," Sully told Mike. He knew Boo's laughter could power the doors. Suddenly, Randall appeared. He chased the friends through door after door. With Boo's help, Mike and Sully trapped Randall in a closet and shredded the door so he couldn't escape. But they weren't safe yet. Mr. Waternoose and the CDA had taken control of the doors. "I'll kidnap 1,000 children before I let this company die," Mr. Waternoose told Sully. Waternoose didn't realize that the CDA could hear him too. He was arrested by the head of the CDA. Guess who that was? The cranky file clerk, Roz. Roz. She had been working undercover all along. It was time for Boo to go home. Sully followed her into her room and tucked her into her bed. He said goodbye and sadly returned to Monstropolis. Roz ordered the CDA to shred Boo's door. No monster would ever scare her again. After that, the scare floor became the laugh floor, and Sully became president of Monsters, Inc. Sully's discovery that laughter was more powerful than screams meant Monstropolis would never run out of power. But Sully still missed Boo. One day, Mike told Sully that he had a surprise. He had put Boo's door back together. Now Sully could visit Boo whenever he wanted. But Sully still missed Boo. One day, Mike told Sully that he had a surprise. After that, the scare floor became the laugh floor, and Sully became president of Monsters, Inc. Sully's discovery that laughter was more powerful than screams meant Monstropolis would never run out of power. But Sully still missed Boo. One day, Mike told Sully that he had a surprise. He had put Boo's door back together. Now Sully could visit Boo whenever he wanted. Sully opened the door and peered inside. "Boo," he whispered. "Kitty!" an excited voice replied. The friends were reunited at last. That was Monsters, Inc. Let's see what other books I have here. Our last book tonight will be Goodnight Yoga. Our last book of the night is Goodnight Yoga. Our last book of the night is Goodnight Yoga. Miriam Gates is the author, and it's illustrated by Sarah Jane Hinder. Now this is a good book to get because all of the yoga poses are mixed in with the words. The sun in the sky is going down. As I breathe in, as I breathe out, my arms lift up to the sky and then back down like sun rays. As I breathe in, I bend my knees and I scoop the clouds around me. As I breathe out, I stand tall and release the clouds over my head. and the clouds float by. The stars sparkle brightly. As I breathe in, as I breathe out, my arms reach out wide towards the stars. As the moon rises high, as I breathe in, as I breathe out, my spine is long and I bend to each side like a crescent moon. The birds fly back to their homes in the trees. As I breathe in, as I breathe out, my shoulders roll back, my heart is open, and I am solid like a tree. As I breathe in, as I breathe out, my palms press together as I squat on my leaf. The ladybugs settle softly between the butterflies. As I breathe in, as I breathe out, my feet press together and my knees spread out like butterfly wings. As I breathe in, as I sit up tall and reach my arms back like wings, as I breathe out, I buzz my head down to the ground and the bees. The little blue cat who lives on the moon. As I breathe in, as I breathe out, I arch my back like a cat. As I breathe in, as I breathe out, I arch my back like a cat. As I breathe in, as I breathe out, I sit back on my heels, still and round like the earth. Whispers, good night, you'll be dreaming soon. I hope you're almost asleep in your dreams. The good night flow, the good night yoga flow. The sun, the cloud, the stars, half moon, the bird, the tree, the ladybug, the butterfly, the bee, the cat, and the child. Cloud journey visualization. Lie on your back with your hands by your sides. Take a deep breath in and let a long breath out. Imagine you are lying on a white, puffy cloud. Feel yourself sink into the softness as the cloud lifts you up, up, up into the air. You are floating, rocking back and forth. Your cloud is taking you somewhere you love to be. This wonderful place has colors to see and sounds to hear. Feel how good it is to be there. Breathe in, breathe out. When you are ready, your cloud slowly brings you down, down, down. It settles you gently back on the earth. As your cloud pulls away, it takes with it anything that is troubling you. Whoosh! You are left feeling calm, peace, and happiness inside. Take another deep breath in and let a long breath out. Sweet dreams. The end. I hope that you enjoyed. The end. I hope that you enjoyed this bedtime story session. Make sure that you like, subscribe. I will see you next time for our next video. I will see you next time with our next video. I hope you've been paying attention to our series that comes on Saturdays. If not, you have time before Saturday to catch up before the newest episode. I really hope that you have relaxed yourself and you are drifting on to sleep. I know I am. I'll see you next time. Good night.